you know, wish Leo was here. How does the process work? Do I have to put it out?
I would
Bid?
think you would have
Do I
to,
have to, you
I-
know,
well, because-
proposals, you know?
because it's not, it's not a contract at a certain amount, I think you could ask them,
Okay,
they
yeah.
come back at the
And
next
they-
meeting and you say,
yeah.
this is how much it's gonna cost, this is where I propose taking it from.
And as far as where it's gonna cost, I come up with money somewhere, I guess.
Yeah, it'll just be a journal entry, you know,
No,
though.
it's not a journal entry, it's cutting a check and paying it, and it's the expense account.
Well, I mean, but if, well, whatever, if
Yeah.
you say we're putting in the general fund and the CPAs come back and say, oh, no, it's gonna be
Yeah, that.
the railroad
part
fund, you
is-
do it at that account into that fund there.
Yeah, but
So
as far
I,
as where we pay for it, it will come out of the general fund.
any other questions or discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. And then on item 16 for the augmentation.
Okay, I make the motion to table that for the time being until we get item number 10 information back.
I have a motion to table from Councilman Oliver. Do I have a second for that?
I'll second.
Second to table from Councilman Carson. Further discussion? All in favor for table? Oh, I'm sorry, Susan. You gotta speak up, Chuck.
I'm trying, I was gonna say, watch out. I guess procedure, I don't let you notice. I'm making a motion to approve. Oh,
We have to do this table if that motion fails.
I just feel like, I guess if we table it, then that money's sitting there, so we haven't really put it anywhere, so they don't have, how are you gonna make an opinion on something that hasn't happened? So if we put it in the general fund, give the CPA something to look at and say, yep, that should go there, or it's okay to go there, it's not against any rules, we're okay, or nope, you messed up, you need to put that in the enterprise fund.
I'll let the treasurer correct me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding is it is in the general fund. We're just augmenting our budget to reflect that.
Okay.
If we don't do anything now, it just sits there unresolved for another few weeks, which is fine. Months? I'm not for sure. And then we have to renotice if we have to augment or we put it somewhere else. So it's just sitting in the general fund with us out.
But, you know,
Yeah.
clarification on a comment the treasurer made, she said she talked to the auditor, he said, I don't care which one it goes into. That was not told us last meeting, that's after the fact.
I think it was in the minutes, I went back in the minutes, and you did say, Jeff, I don't care what the auditor says. It's in the minutes.
Okay,
So,
I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
didn't say it.
Calm
I went back and read
down,
the minutes.
treasurer, you're burning.
Yeah, so, yeah, no, I did,
We can always move it out of general
Right.
enterprise,
yeah.
but once it's there, it's stuck. So what if we never use that money for legal, we just have this money sitting in that
That's
account?
what I think we should.
We'll just wait and see.
Well, Jim is saying that's why we get the opinion, so that they get the details, it's all written out, it's whatever. That's his.
And it's already been committed to the legal fees, so I will track it separately regardless of where it's at.
And I assume that would be part of the statement that comes from the auditors as well, how that works. So there's a motion and a second to table. Is there further discussion on that? Anybody would like to add? Hearing none, we'll vote on that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So, 3-4, 2 against, motion to table passes. We'll move back to item 11, Councilman Allworth, discussion for possible action. Yes.
So we have Councilman Trask against the motion.
And we, sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Council, 2 to 3. Item 11, Councilman Allworth, discussion for possible action approval for the City of Ely to apply for U.S. Department of Transportation RAISE grant to make improvements to the Nevada Northern Railway. The Nevada Northern Railway Foundation will assist the City of Ely in mailing the application and administering the grant.
I'll turn this over to the railroad expert, Mark. This is an opportunity above all opportunities.
Railroad expert.
Thank you. Middle of last month, President Biden signed the 2023 RAISE grant program, and basically it's $1.5 billion to carry out projects with significant local or regional impact. Project sponsors include municipalities. And it can be used for critical freight and passenger transportation infrastructure project. One of the project's areas would be tourism. And one of the things it's for is modernizing their transportation. And it also is safety, environmental sustainability, quality of life, and community connectivity and economic competitiveness. Half of the funding has to go to the rural areas, LPS. So the deadline for the application is February 28th at 11:59 p.m. This is sort of perplexing in that the maximum grant amount is $24 million. And it's like, well, that's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money when you have an entire railroad. And so we actually went over a series of ideas and whatnot, and I handed out the track map from our 2013 Tiger grant. And I should explain, on the 2013 Tiger grant, that was our first go-around, and they awarded approximately 25 grants, and we were number 26 on our first go-around. We got so close to actually getting funding, but because of the lawsuit, we've never had the opportunity to apply again. And so in going over this, and again, the bottom part of the map there where you see from Keystone to McGill Junction, that is the section of the railroad that we use along with the High Line. And then at the top of the map, what's labeled Phase 2 goes from Shafter to Curry. And so what I'm looking at, and again, one of the things is, you know, I have to create an argument for economic need. And I checked with Cameron, and the raise grants are an annual thing. And so what I'd like to do is make an investment on the part of the line that we currently use. And so what we would do is do track improvements from Keystone and do the entire High Line Junction. High Line Junction hasn't received any really heavy repairs since Kennecott closed in 1983. And so the track has been slowly degrading. We've been replacing ties and that nature. The other part of that would be go from, and the other thing, we're very, very fortunate, rail comes in weights. It's weights per yard. The vast majority of the main line is laid with 60 pounds per yard. The Union Pacific today runs on 141 pounds per yard. So the area that we run on from Keystone out to High Line Junction has been laid with 90 pound and 115 pound rail, which would accept modern cars and things of that nature. From High Line Junction to McGill Junction is 70 pound rail. So as part of this package, we would make improvements on the track that we actually use, and at the same time, re-rail from High Line Junction up to McGill Junction with the heavier rail, probably 133 or 136. The grant's due, as I said, February 28th, and they're going to make approvals by June. So it's pretty fast track. After we do that, then the second phase would be to do from the interchange at Shafter down to Curry. And I think what we could do at Curry, and the refinery in Railroad Valley has said they really want to use the railroad. The hay growers have said they want to really use the railroad. And so if we got the railroad open to Curry, we could do a transload facility in Curry for oil, hay, and perhaps things from the mine too. And so that would then create a very nice economic picture. And then once we get the proof of concept, we could conceivably do phase 3 to open up the railroad between Curry and McGill Junction. So the city actually has to do the application. I'm willing to write the application and move forward like that.
We had some very positive encouragement from Cameron in our call on Monday.
Oh, yes.
I think it's great. Are there any questions for the railroad expert? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion from Councilman Allard, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Councilwoman Elliott. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried forward.
Thank you very much. Just as a little note, since I gave my earlier presentation, the Facebook page has jumped 50,000 more views.
The cat's got more than 9 lives.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 12, Councilman Allworth, discussion for possible action to direct city attorney to draft a resolution to add a no cell phone policy during public meetings to the city council code of conduct referred to in Ely City Code 1-5-7.
Basically, Carol, he did mention he uses his cell phone. It's an option he's using now. He's got a packet. He can use into the modern technology. But I think our personal cell phones need to be silenced or not included. I find it distracting. You're sitting there all of a sudden, somebody, are we paying 100% attention to the business of the council? Then you put the devil's advocate into it, the people out in cyberland say no, oh no. You know, I just think if somebody's gonna get a text from somebody outside the city council, they need to say, wait a minute, I've got an opinion right here. You know, it has to be right up front, get rid of that little bit of doubt that may be out there. So that's why that, but I think Kurt mentioned, first of all, he's on call a lot of times, but yes, that's the other company phone. I just think that time, this phone here is a red hot phone. You got a call out phone. So that, but I don't
Just
know
like
if
that,
yeah. So but too, we're going into the tablet era too, so again, I don't know if those tablets, you can get emails on them or text or whatever, I'm just not that literate on that. So I just think cell phones are distracting in the meeting.
I will note, in response to that, my time in DC last week, which I forgot to report on, it was fun. Anyway, they encourage them not to use cell phones in the House of Representatives and the Senate. They still use some. I don't know if it's a hard rule or not, but yeah, I think some of this interplay between getting tablets and phones might help some of that too. But
I mean, as the one that uses a phone, kind of personal, I feel like, but, I mean, since this came on, since the one time I've had my cell phone, but, I mean, I'm using it as a tablet. I have no problem having no cell phones once we have our tablets, but this is how I do my work, so, and I would counter writing with a pencil or pen can be just as distracting as this same motion, so, I mean, I guess I feel kind of personally attacked on this one, but, and I would hope that as a trust, especially since we talked about ethics, that you would trust the board and make sure that they weren't getting outside opinions on it.
And that's why I'm saying it outward like I am.
I know.
I'm not shadowing anybody saying it. This is, here it is, folks, that's what I feel. You
Well,
know,
and the
I've been in meetings when some people are sitting like this.
you know,
You know, they're not paying attention to what's going on.
and the
I
code.
agree with Jim. I've seen it happen. People text in and, you know, some people bring it and can't turn off their ringer, you know. Ernie was famous for that. It's just, I think it is a possible distraction. I don't like giving up my cell phone.
I mean, the code could be kind of to strike the, try and strike the middle ground here. You can use your phone for what you're going to use it for, but it should be put on airplane mode for the meetings so you're not getting, or maybe the policy should be something like getting and receiving text messages while officiating a meeting is against the person, the code of conduct.
It's inappropriate to go there and silencing your phone.
Yeah, I think proper phone etiquette is always gonna be okay, I mean, but, and I agree that there should be no outside, when we're sitting up here, there should be no outside, like, influences. And I would, again, stress that we would trust the board that that's what's happening. I mean, we're elected officials to make opinions, we're allowed to think for ourselves, so.
Exactly right, exactly right.
So-
So Leo mentioned he's not included in this, he uses it for a hotspot, dealing with Jennifer, he was quick to do that. Hotspot, whatever that does, I don't know.
Well, I think he uses it to connect to his, he connects to his tablet so he can pull it.
Okay, well, he's exempt from not included in this, or not a member of the city council.
I don't know, how do you police that, I guess, if you,
Well, how do you police any code of conduct? I don't
Trust,
know.
right?
We've had that conversation a couple of times on code of conduct. But having it written down, right? So the expectation of new board members is, you know, you say,
proper cell phone.
proper cell phone etiquette is proper and common until it isn't from someone who shows up. Not that anybody here is guilty of that, but my personal feeling is good government and good policy should consider that you might not always be the ones.
Right. And
If that makes sense.
part of it is the future too. So we have to think about our board moving forward, so if this is what they're using, and we decide we're gonna try to limit that because of not trusting someone,
I think
we're
that,
entering the future as well, as we're talking about.
but you're right, going to the future is his tablet and laptop, that is the future. That is the way it's gonna be.
Right, and that's what I'm doing now, so.
So we don't need to buy him a tablet or a.
I mean, it'd be nice to have a bigger screen, don't get me wrong. I was gonna say, you can see me over here pinching stuff and looking and scrolling everywhere. It'd be nice to have it definitely a little bit bigger. I don't plan on being able to see like I can, obviously already, but I just would say, so no, I'm still a big proponent of getting a tablet, but I think there needs to be a way of not just saying no cell phones, because that seems counterproductive if we're planning for the future as has been told, so, in short.
And you know, it's part of that ethics training, when I got extra treatment. You know, you get some kind of doubt on it, anybody knows, they come in, they'll take your cell phone, they'll take the city's cell phone, and they'll go through it. You know, so if a person's gonna, well, it's not about the trust thing, you're gonna risk it, just one malfunction, somebody files a protest, you better spill your guts out there, and here we go. You know, your phone's turned over to the FBI, the Ethics Commission.
Is there any further questions or clarification or discussion on that?
I want to know what the punishment or reprimanding will be. Because I think we're all adults, and like Turtle said, I think there should be a code of conduct. I know that I was on my phone, okay, and I won't do that again. But also, what's the punishment, or how are we to be reprimanded? Like, if we're looking at something or an additional document, or we pull out our phone, or we're on our tablet. I mean, I think, yes, we should have a code of conduct to be professional, but we should all trust each other. I don't know, it's just, it's kind of a weird gray area, but what we talked about
I
today.
mean, to be honest, once we get these tablets, everything that can happen here is gonna happen on the tablet, so.
That's what I'm finding out.
Yeah.
But we all know the consequence if we think, you know, Terrell's being unethical. I mean, turn over your phone, Terrell, so,
And then that's on me, right? I have to,
yeah,
and then,
we all know that.
and so, I think there's I mean, it's like, are we writing things that don't really need to be there? I don't know.
Well, you missed out on a whole bunch of stuff that tried to put in this, that I thought that should never been in there, so it's not my first rodeo, partner. I've been shot at and hit, shot at and missed.
So what's the pleasure of the board on this item? Is there a motion that anyone would like to make?
I'll make the motion, but let's don't carry it. One way or another, make the motion.
So we're doing like an all or nothing then?
Your motion is just the.
That one is developed. Is that-
Yeah, you know, attorney's not here, again, on your question about the reprimand, I have no idea, but I don't think that's this right here, that doesn't pertain, it just, the first 1-5-7 that become part of the, that's the first one, I guess.
Yeah, the resolution draft come back to the council for consideration.
I think that's a good point, thank you.
So
Do you
the,
still want to call it a no cell phone? since we're using cell phones for tablets, or maybe,
I think probably proper usage rather than.
yeah, something like that.
And we could figure that out later, but I understand what you're saying, just so we have some, or cell phone protocol.
Yeah, there you go.
Do we have that in our policy manual at all right now?
For work or something.
Yeah, I don't think cell phones are allowed for employees to even use them, well, it's got a company phone over.
Sure. Okay. So the motion, your motion, Councilman Allworth, is to develop a cell phone use policy for the council.
There you go.
Is that?
More, yeah, the use.
Well, technology, because we're gonna be. getting on
Because
phone.
protocol, I think it's protocol more than use.
Technology
Technology,
use.
if we're gonna.
Yeah,
talk about-
Technology use protocol.
Yeah,
for-
because we're gonna get away from
And,
cell phones.
and as an aside, we want you to know that, my husband called when I was at school doing the things, because I was late, like, where are you? I'm like, I can't talk to you now, I'm working with kids, so.
So we have a motion from Councilman Allworth to develop a technology use protocol for council members during meetings.
Sure.
All right, is there a second on that item?
I second.
Second from Councilwoman Starker. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries so ordered. Item 14, Councilman Allworth, Councilwoman Elliott, discussion only, update on, 13. Councilman Allworth, discussion only, consideration to convert Murray and Mill Streets to one-way traffic with Murray Street heading northbound into town and Mill Street heading southbound out of town.
Hey, Mr.
He's
Engineer.
coming up with, he's got something to say about it.
Well, I told Jim that I'm sure I would come and take some of this heat from him because I am, one of the drivers back behind that. I think it would be good for the city. Murray Street's a very narrow road, and when he drives up there, it is two-lane traffic. They park on both sides of the road, and half the time they're actually parking on our sidewalks. And so I think it would be a benefit to look at coming in and doing this. Myself and some of the staff had put together this little checklist of items that we kind of discussed and how we would handle certain things. And then we surely didn't get everything in there. And in fact, one of the comments in the letters I read earlier today with the no, his little suggestion was they're concerned about no parking on the side street because Mill Street is one way now, or one side parking now. That's a good point to put back on this thing, is because if you actually did do this one way in and one way out, that road could go back to parking on both sides of the street, so that should hopefully remedy their concern as far as not being able to park in front of their house there. And so I think this would just open it up when we would not be parking on our sidewalks. It would allow the pedestrians to walk up and down the sidewalks that are up there. And I think this would actually come in and benefit our road crews and some of the cleaning of the snow, just quite a few things we've discussed, and it's going to be a benefit. And I think it would also be a benefit of the cost of completing this road out the rest of the way down the project down to Mill, because if it is only going to be one way through that area, we can narrow it a little bit up in that area. And when I'm saying there, I'm not saying 8 feet, I'm just talking a couple feet, but a couple feet over that distance adds up in the cost of the road. And the same thing that converts back into some maintenance costs and everything else. And so,
But I think that one comment, was this from Carrie Pinner who wrote that?
Carrie Pintar.
Yeah, she's off.
oh, she's off that, okay.
She's off that map, she's on the dog leg going on
Sure,
there, so
sure.
she probably never seen the map, no doubt, but appreciate her comments.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I have a question. Right now, as it sits, there are people who park against the flow of traffic, even though there's two-way traffic. I'm sure the sheriff's noted that too. Which, we kind of let go in the community because traffic volume isn't that high, but if that's a one-way street, that couldn't be allowed. Those people have to go around
Sure.
and park in the direction of traffic of that road if it's one way.
Sure.
They can't say, oh, well, my house is right here, I'm just gonna pull in right there, because there's no room for a U-turn. And you can't be going down that street the wrong way.
No, and I agree, and you bring up a point about them parking the wrong way, and you kind of let it go. Well, I think we also, the code, we can't park on the sidewalk, and so that's kind of let go too. So if you actually enforce this road and put everybody back on the street, we wouldn't have two-way traffic going up that road.
Sheriff, is there anything you'd like to add on that?
I was just curious, BJ, do you know what the road width would be if we allowed parking on both sides, what the actual travel portion of that would be for Mill Street?
It kind of varies throughout that street, because that street lane at a minimum, and your parking is on each side.
Okay, so we meet the state standards for,
Meet standards, yes.
that was my question, thanks.
And one question, Tim, also about emergency vehicles, lights and sirens, they can go any way they can to get to the emergency.
Do you have any thoughts on enforcement for some of that parking?
No, I
vehicles
mean,
or-
we, just like BJ was saying, you know, just because of the narrow streets, especially on Murray, when we get people parking on both sides, we can't really say, hey, don't park up on top of the curb, because, you know, if you don't, then your mirror's gonna get whacked by another passing car, so that street just, yeah. When you got two people going in the opposite direction, they pull over to let one go by, it's tough, yeah.
Okay. Is there any other discussion or questions? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Let's see, now we'll move on to item 14. Councilman Alworth, Councilwoman Elliott, discussion only update on border group efforts on the city of Ely and to secure federal and state money.
Everybody's now.
We really didn't have a lot because of the new legislation, so we're still working with Cameron and we're still earmarked for a couple projects. So not a whole lot new.
Anything else to add?
No?
Okay. Thank you. We'll move on to item 15. Councilman Williams Harper, discussion on the presentation regarding a proposal to introduce rideshare to the city of Ely. Councilman Williams Harper.
I'd like to introduce Barry Stark. Barry has been here before. I'll let him tell you when, but he just wanted to come and talk with the council about what I think is prevalent, even more prevalent now, and something we need.
Good evening. My name is Barry Stark, and I have submitted a proposal for a household ride share for Ely in the Ely area, including Miguel and Ruth. I feel like I've done some research, and at Ely, I've been here over 13 years, and Ely has grown. Our tourism has grown, and I think that since this is 2023, we've gone into the 21st century, I think that there is a need now for a ride share. It alleviates the lives. Earlier, the council was talking about maybe a cannabis den, or not a den, but a lounge. Excuse me. But I think that at this point in time, it would really help out the city. And I've researched Uber, Lyft, I've researched the rideshare laws within RS. I put it all in my proposal. I don't know if you've had a chance to go over it. But we are able and ready to comply with NRS, and we are requesting that the city allow us business licenses to begin our rideshare here in Ely and the area, commuting between Miguel and Ruth. Another issue I think we could help alleviate is, like my father, he's 86, he's a senior, and he has issues and problems, and some of his friends do too, because I did talk to them, and other family members that are seniors, they have problems and issues getting to and from appointments, William B. And I think that we could help in that aspect also. I have 2 drivers, and I have a 3rd backup. And I also have a dispatch personnel. So we've kind of gone through this pretty good, and I think we're prepared. But all we need to go through is just the approvals and business licenses and all that. We have the vehicles as required through NRS 2008 and newer, all 4 doors. So all the safety equipment's there. I do have a maintenance place that I use, vehicle maintenance. Let's see, what else am I thinking of? That's pretty much it. And the NRS is extensive, but I do have the rules, and we of course will comply with all the laws, and we're able to comply at this time. So all we're doing is seeking approval from the city.
Have you already begun the business license?
Oh, no, sir, I have not. I just wanted to see where we stood with you. If you think it's something did get some paperwork today, but once we get your approval, then we will submit the licenses requirement documents.
And, yeah, I was gonna say, Jennifer was saying,
Well,
go ahead and say what you told
city
me.
attorney, doing his initial research, rendered that, your company would need a license, and then each driver would need a
Yes,
license.
ma'am, that's according to ours also.
A separate business license for each driver?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that we wouldn't get from
He's
you.
still fleshing out all of that, that was what his initial research showed, because the code does provide for taxi service
Mhm.
now, so. yeah.
And that's what we researched and I found out, that's why I submitted the proposal and giving it to
And
you.
this
for
item is
your-
for discussion only.
Okay.
Yeah, because the council doesn't approve business licensing, except.
Oh, no, I understand that, but I just come to you submitting it and hoping you
Well,
will approve it.
the information is very thorough, and we're certainly excited for the opportunity, I think. Any opportunity for people to be able to get a ride home rather than driving home.
Yes, I agree. That would
Or
be
whatever they do, I think is great, and certainly there are a lot of seniors in town, I know that struggle with getting to where they need to go, and I think that's a.
And we all, even offer discounts to seniors.
That'd be great.
That we do for regular rides, so. And we don't. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in here you state that you would only take credit cards, right?
Well, that's per NRS, they said not, we cannot carry or have cash in the
So
vehicle.
does our code only provide taxi, or would we have to amend that code to allow ride share? Because it sounds like when you're doing a dispatch, that's more of a cab type company versus like Uber, you go on your phone, you set it up, you have a card on file, the driver comes, which you're kind of, I think, molding both, so.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of integrating both because we are going to get it to where we do set up accounts and say if you do, we put on your phone, we can have Facebook, PayPal, Venmo, but we always need somebody, you know, in the office per se to say, if somebody calls an emergency, they want to set up an appointment, that's why we're gonna have email also.
Okay.
So for people that just, like I said, we want to deal with everyone. So if seniors, you know, my dad, he's horrible with himself.
Right.
You know, we want to be able, and we also have a phone number they can call in and just talk to someone.
Right.
So,
Yeah, city attorney, his initial reading was our code sufficient.
Okay.
But he is still, verifying all of that, that's what he told me this morning.
Okay.
But the parts of NRS that they would be required to comply with supersedes anything we have,
Of course,
Yeah.
which is what they do.
You done?
Yeah.
Okay. I've marked up 4 things here, Barry.
okay, yes, sir.
Do you have handicapped vehicles for handicapped folks?
You know, that I don't have, but if it comes, I mean, all our vehicles are SUVs, so we have tried, and if we do have someone, say, who has a wheelchair, they will fit in the back, and I just, if they can walk, get into the vehicle on their own, that's fine, and we'd be able to put their, help them with their wheelchair in and out, and even help them in and out of the vehicle.
Usually usually bus would handle those folks anyway. That's just a question I had.
Yeah, oh no, but we are willing to do that, yeah.
That's not be operating if they're
Sometimes.
like o'clock at night.
Yeah, then that's when they usually call us back.
Right.
Okay, and then, this says, the cost is $18 for a one-way ride, capacity of 4 people. Is it $18 for the 4 people? So if you got a party, jump in for $18.
And $18 is to McGill or Ruth. In the city area, it's 12.
Okay,
For
so
seniors, it's 8.
whether it's one person or,
One of 4 people.
okay,
We are mandating to be able to carry 4 people.
okay, NRS tells about the fare estimate, and then 24-hour service.
No, we were going to go as far as 2 a.m.
Okay, all right.
And
Then,
it start as early as they need us. Say if we have an appointment and say somebody needs to be at the doctor at 8 a.m., we'll have them.
okay, then the other question is, the sheriff could probably answer this. You read the blog report, some guy's staggering down the street, gonna freeze to death, they don't transport him. Would the deputy say, hey, here's the phone number to call at midnight, call them and have them picked up instead of the
Yes.
cops taking the liability?
Yes.
Is that?
Oh, yes. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to try and help you lead.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the answer.
So I just, and I know this was discussion only, but I encouraged Barry to come again. So Jennifer, what does this have to do with us anymore? Once Leo figures out what's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then does that go to you for license or what?
Yes, it would just be turned in as regular business licensing application through the office rather than process it. You know, and we would just take that
And I did
step
obtain one,
by
so
step in the normal
My other
process.
drivers will have to obtain one too.
That's my
And
understanding.
we still have other steps too, so.
Yes.
It's definitely a need. It's definitely a need.
I would get the ball rolling as quick as you can.
Okay, we're ready, yeah.
We're
Thank you,
excited about that.
because I just knew you guys would want to hear. I know he's been working on this,
It's a
so.
good idea. I could have used it a time or two in my life.
Thank you, Mrs. Zimmer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
And unless I missed anything. We'll move on to non-public comment. Did I miss something? No. Public comment, please state your name for the record. Making me nervous. She's been doing more than I have the last 2 weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, for the council's information, the enterprise fund was set up during the time I was mayor. Councilman Jim Martinez was supposed to handle the business end. The railroad hasn't paid a dime, not a nickel, not a penny in the purchase of that railroad line. From mile marker 0 to 128. It was meant to be a revenue generator for the city of Ely. None of that transpired. The only thing that the city of Ely got was legal bills because of malfeasance, misfeasance, and non-feasance. You need to do the history. Any revenue that comes off that line comes to the city of Ely, not the Railroad Foundation. Their responsibility is basically from the McGill Junction to Ruth, and that's it. It's not their money. They didn't put a dime in there. And that's what aggravates me. Yet they're taking over as if they've done it from day one. Have not. Do the research, look at the minutes. Mr. Mayor, I have some ongoing concerns which haven't been answered. I've asked for a permit if there is such a thing to park behind the sidewalk, unlike some of the businesses here are parking not only behind the sidewalk, on the sidewalk, and in the gutter. You're hampering any business I do. Mr. Mayor, I brought forth a concern in regards to Jennifer Lee encroaching onto the sidewalk. That hasn't been addressed.